from 23 back over. We're going to do it again in 24. So if you come in, go ahead and hit 10. No, excuse me, 25K Crappie Connection hashtag.
Do you feel like
get started?
Do you feel like a brand new man?
I do. I feel great. Fresh start, fresh new year. Caught my first slab today.
Oh, I seen that. Woo!
Pump.
That was a chunk. What did she weigh anyway?
I can't tell you that. That's a secret.
Oh, here we go. What do we got to guess it, don't we?
Can't tell you that. Travis, Joey, Robert, Steven. Welcome back, guys. Good to see you in 24. Thanks for everybody joining in again tonight. Mr. Holden Higgs.
How is Holden Higgs doing? How is everybody?
Who's been fishing so far in 24? Let's hear some fishing reports, some early starts of 24.
I know there's a lot of early starters out there.
Yeah, I mean, I started early.
I can tell. I've been pretty hammered down on the holiday season, but tomorrow I'm going with Ken Robertson. I'm meeting him up around his area, and we're going to go beat him up. It's a beautiful day with light wind, and we're going to throw on the cold gear and go get him.
Mr. Cagle coming on. Look at him. He snuck on in here.
Man, jumping together.
He's smoking today.
Yeah, I guarantee he did.
Mr. Henderson, Jim, Dustin.
Oh,
we got the stash. Dust Stash showed up just in time tonight, guys. So if he's a little behind, he just barely got in the rhythm with me here.
When he say showed up in time, I mean I jumped on about 30 seconds before he went live. I'm trying to load my comments right now.
We'll get you started, but like I said, appreciate everybody coming in. Great start of this year, and we even talked about this last week, Dustin and I. Is we're looking for, things to look forward to and learn in this new coming year of 2024 in crappie fishing. And there's always so much to learn. These fish teach me personally, I think something every single day I get out there and go crappie fishing. There's something that I pick up and say, I've never seen that before. And today was even a little bit of that as well.
At least tell us what lake you fish.
I fished Ross Barnett. I went back to the res today, and
good.
We buddy of mine, Chad Wright, he's on here all the time. He got in a boat with me. We went up and played around and looked for some fish and had a really good day. And, fish aren't easy, but they're hungry. We got a little particular things that we had to do, but they are hungry. I think that maybe this is the beginning of this year is going to be a fantastic year because, like I said, I tagged my first crappie for this year for Crappie Forever. Tagged 173, I believe it was.
173?
I can't wait to see if this fish gets caught again because it was in the river. So it'd be very interesting to see if this fish migrates down to the main lake or exactly what this fish does. Hopefully somebody catches it and turns it in and releases it back again. But I would love to get some information for this particular fish. It would be really neat.
That is cool. Has one been caught at Barnett yet?
Yeah, which we'll get Gabe or Daniel on here one night, and they'll go through some of the stuff once they've got caught. I don't know if any of mine that I've tagged has been caught yet, but I know from last year until today, I have tagged them from the Spillway Road, pretty much was at the very south end of the lake, all the way to upriver and everywhere between. So I've tagged crappie, I know, in Ross Barnett from all stretches of it.
Gotcha.
Probably the only spot I don't think I've tagged one is in Pilahatchee Bay area. But other than that, I've tagged one close to it.
There's a lot of fish in Pilahatchee Bay.
That's Dustin's little honey hole.
That is my honey hole. Do you fish there very often? I guess probably not if you ain't got one tagged in that area.
I have no. Like I said, I don't fish that area a whole lot. I fish the main lake or upriver.
Fair enough.
But I can't. I need to go there and tag one though.
Yes, you do. I know there's some big ones over there to be tagged.
But I can give you my today's fishing report, and I see some other ones jumping on here already. And we'll get on here and we'll talk about some goals that I've got for myself and I got for the Crappie Connection and today's bite and different things. And we'll go back through and setting in some crappie fishing goals for this year. I think it's always good to have a goal set, and no matter fishing, deer hunting, marriage, whatever. So it's always a good thing to have some goals. But to me, like I said, we fished upriver today. We don't have a lot of current, so the fish are really on the river itself. We caught them anywhere from 12 foot of water all the way to about 24 foot of water. Now, the color was pretty unique today. Water's fairly stained, and I just grabbed this bait and color just to see the reaction, if the fish could see the color or not. But the color is actually copper nose, which is a fairly clear bait that has a little bit of sparkle in it. And first fish I cast it at, it turned around, whirled at, and inhaled it. And I was like, man, I can't even believe this fish saw this color. And even Chad and I were talking about, you think of a clear bait in really dirty water, we really sometimes don't give the fish enough credit of being able to see the things they can see. But this fish turned around, whirled, and inhaled it. And like I said, I was casting to him, but couldn't really have a really fast presentation. So I tied on two 1/32 ounce jigs, and it takes a while for you when you're casting to suspended fish, and some of them are suspended over brush or stumps, but it takes forever, seems like, for two 32 ounce jigs to drift down to some fish. But thing is, just like always, it's just a little slight vibration to the pole itself, bringing it over the top of the fish, and they would follow it, and eventually they would just suck it up, and you got them. Exactly how I caught that big fish today. Usually orange heads and copper nose was my color of choice.
Were you expecting her to be that big?
I knew it was a pretty good fish, but I didn't know it would be a
butterball
crappie 173 fish or nothing.
Yeah. Now you said you wasn't going to tell me the weight of
it.
Oh, you said 173. I thought you said it was a 170.
No.
Okay.
No, that's the tag number.
It has to be over 2 pounds, right, to tag?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was over 2 pounds.
Ooh. Awesome.
Just a little bit shy of a 16-inch fish.
That's a big old fish. Brandon Thomas is on here. He said he's pulled a few threes off of Hudson in the last 10 years. A 3-pound fish around here is a monster. So that's awesome. He's going to have me fishing a little bit over there more this year, I'm sure.
What length would a 3-pounder be over in that neck of the woods?
Oh, man, 17 and a half to right at 17 inches. I guarantee it. Yeah. It'd be a monster fish. Because, a 16-inch fish here is like 2.5 to 260. Just over 2.5 pounds. It's probably 16 and a half.
Yeah, I would say about the same from a lot of the lakes here. Like years ago, Lake Washington, I've seen a couple 3-pounders. They were 16 and a quarter, and they would be 3.5.
Holy smokes. So they were just like Grenada fish.
Dude, literally, they were like footballs. I mean, literally, they were like footballs, and I'm sure a lot of guys that's experienced that back in the day can tell you. Yeah. They were literally footballs.
I couldn't imagine, like in Grenada, I couldn't imagine a 17-inch fish because that thing would have to be about 4 pounds. Because you can get a 3-pound fish of Grenada going 15 inches, 15 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't imagine. It's just crazy.
Ken Martin says something wrong with his feed tonight. Got it fixed. He says, "Good afternoon, Brad and Huckleberry."
I like it. I've gotten some pictures of old Huckleberry here lately on Facebook. Yep. I'm going to clean everything up. And really, that's another goal for 2024 is really get this thing popping. Any more comments from the wife, and she's going to shave it in my sleep. But I'm going to get it start to curl a little bit. I need to trim it, but that's okay.
I see another great goal. Mr. Charles Henderson, appreciate you coming on tonight as always. He said his goal is to meet new people and take someone new to the sport and try some different techniques and on some new lakes.
Goal.
Dude, that's hammered.
That's a perfect goal. Scott Allen has a question real quick on dirty water. He said he has some pretty dirty water where he's at. What's y'all's go-to bait color for heavy stained pure mud water? It's kind of crazy. I've got one of my top 3 baits I'm going to use tomorrow, but this is one of them. If I had really stained water, I'm going to grab that pecan cream and drop it down there. And now it's like, it feels like you're breaking the law dropping a dark brown bait into dark brown water, but it's worth a try. But on top of that, you can't hurt nothing going with your big, aggressive orange colors. And I know Big Brad over here has one of those mud daubers, and that's a killer muddy water bait. Mud dauber or just anything really aggressively bright, double silver rainbow, anything like that.
That's horse fly.
Yeah, that's a killer right there in dirty water. Those bright oranges is what I would probably start with, is a bright orange or this pecan cream.
Darker colors and brighter colors seem to me for muddier, dingier water. But like I said today, actually, and this water is fairly dirty right now, which I don't know. We haven't had a lot of rain, but it had a good bit of tint to it. And like I said, I just tried that copper nose, and man, those fish could see it, and they initially just.
That is one of my favorite colors, is copper nose. At the right time, that can be a better bait than a lot of them on the right days. Copper nose is a good one.
Brandon Thomas, his Lake Hudson report. Did you say the report itself? Or?
No, I didn't say his report. I never saw that one.
Lake Hudson, northeast Oklahoma. Water temp 44 to 45. Water slightly stained. River fish holding where the creek banks drop off into main river channel. Main lake area, bigger fish holding near big schools of shad, structure 30 foot of water. Sounds textbook as can be, don't it?
I was going to say, you can't get much better than that. That sounds like I could go to Hudson tomorrow, back my boat in, and go find some fish. So I appreciate it, Brandon. That's a real good fishing report.
Mr. Working Man.
Do what?
Working Man, I heard through the rumor mill that he had a good day on Enid, so I can't wait to see his report. And also, I know he called him this weekend as well up there.
My comments are slow tonight, but I am getting some in. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hopefully everybody had good holidays and everything went smooth. I want to hear some goals, though, for your guys' 24. See what we got going on. My river got blown out. I say blown out. It just got a ton of current compared to when I just smoked them on the last live. I was telling you about how I cracked them good here by the house. And we got a lot of rain. I drove over the bridge where I put in, and you can see the current really ripping by the bridge pillars. So, yeah, I just want to cry thinking about it. But Brad would be out there finding them out the current.
Yeah, I would love some current. You know, Scott, he says his goal for 2024 would be consistency for the year. Really whacked him good last Tuesday, and then went Sunday and got the big 0. Couldn't even find many shad.
Yeah, I wonder where you were going, buddy. I like the consistency, though. That is kind of my goal every year, is to try to do better than last year and keep it consistently good. So that's a good goal.
Joey, he said he'd been killing them all colors of water, from dirty to clear, using a new live roamer minnow. He said he's been hammering them.
Live roamer, live minnow is a killer, for sure.
And Chris Collins, he said he bought some of the pecan cream roamers and hopes his mustache game would increase just like yours.
Hey, I like that. Your mustache game may not increase, but wait till you drop that pecan cream in the water. Your fishing will increase. You just wait. I need a pecan cream code for Bobby Garland.
Yeah, we still got the code going. I was talking about.
Yeah,
Crappie Connection 15. You can still get 15% off at LureNet. Talking about a little code, but
yeah. Oh, here we go. We got Brian Thiel on here. He just jumped on. Good buddy / client of mine. He said one of his goals is to catch a 3-pounder with GFB Outdoors. You bet you, Brian. We're going to give it a shot. It's getting close. Another month, and I'm getting you that dang 3-pounder. He's been pretty close, I believe. Brian, you have to remind me real quick what your PV is, but he's caught fish over 2.5 pounds even with me. And man, he's traveled all over trying to get that 3-pounder. So I hope we get him one this year. It is big fish season. And it's time to start kind of lurking. They're starting to lurk around a little bit. If we get a little bit more rain, bring those lakes up where around the area you're at, it's going to be go time for sure. So I'm excited for trophy season. That's another one. I'd love to see a few more 3-pounders get swung in the boat. No doubt about it. You know what I need to get for 24 is a good net, because I don't know Good net. That's a good one. I need to get a good net because it's cost me a few, and I don't want to see the clients on here that I've cost the 3-pounders on go on on your comment because I know
Yeah,
a
we
couple
probably don't.
watching. I know a couple's watching for sure, so I shouldn't even have mentioned nothing about that.
I see 2 questions, and there's probably some more I ain't got to quite yet. But Bob's asking, he says, does Bobby Garland mayflies, do they work all year long? And that would be definitely yes.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, Torch, he's been slaying them on the mayflies. He's actually been long lining them, which typically I don't pull without it being a curly tail too often, but he has been smoking them on mayflies as far as even long lining with them. So just that profile, just changing up things until you see these fish react. Definitely the mayfly, the process where it was thought of was mayfly hatches throughout the spring and summer. But man, these fish, if they have the right opportunity and that's the right profile for them, they're gonna smash it no matter what time of year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've used that mayfly in and out throughout the whole year for sure. I really pick up during spring, like late summer or early summer. When you see those hatches, I really get after it with the mayfly, but it works year round. Like he said, it's just day in and day out. You have to use different things, and sometimes that's what they want, and it doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes. Yeah. But it's just that profile, something different than what they've been seeing all day, every day. We got to.
Chris from YouTube's asking. He said, "Is water releasing from reservoir bad for crappie bite?" Chris, in my experience, it's not. This actually can be a really good thing because it's going to position fish in these eddies and the current breaks. So current can actually be your friend. And guys that have been watching, all through the fall or at least the last 6 to 8 weeks with me, I've been praying for current. I've been, man, I hope we get some rain when we get some current lake, especially in the month of January and February. If we get some current, it's just, I'm telling you, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm super excited. Like I said, there's kind of a lull here from late October, November, and then when January hits, usually things really pick up, and we have some good fishing to be had all the way through the season, all the way through summer and everything else. But I do like when they're pulling, when they have the floodgates open, it seems like you have a good steady bite. Now, I've noticed when they shut it off, it seems like they shut the bite off with it sometimes. So enjoy that. Oh, here we go. Josh Bolware. I knew that I was going to get my 3-pounder mark, and there he is. He said a net would be nice. Would have had a 3-pounder on my wall. Yep, that hurts. I knew it was coming, buddy. I knew it was coming. Hey, I just knew if I'd have got him that 3-pounder, he wouldn't have win again, so I had to keep him going.
That's the way.
Yep, for sure. You're too good of a buddy. I couldn't just hang you out like that. I want to go a few more times.
We got the James. He's got a Lake of the Ozarks. He said it was good to us on Saturday. Fish were 15 to 20 foot deep on structure. Caught fish, baby shad swimmer in glacier color and silverfish minnow minder. Definitely, glacier. Like I said, it's been one of my really good colors in November and December that I use a lot. And to kind of describe that color for you guys, you're not familiar with it. It's like a monkey milk top with almost a black bottom, 2-tone bay color. It's for me. I like that whole profile being one color tone to say, and it's been really good for me as well. Mr. Chad Wright.
How fortunate and blessed are we, Brad, to have a bait company that has so many colors. You get reminded on good ones that you forget about using.
Have you used that bait much as far as that color?
Oh yeah, I have. It cracks me up because I'll go when someone says glacier, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that would kill them right now. But it's just like there's so many colors you can forget about them.
Got Working Man. He says he's the Weekend Warrior Report. I like that. Sardis 6 to 9 foot was full of fish. Bite was good. Every fish would bite in the upper water column. Textbook.
I've been on those days before. Yeah, good fishing report. Oh, Brad, you'll be so proud of me. Look at this.
You got to read the rest of this, though, dude. You got the right color there.
The rest of which one?
Working Man's. He says, biggest fish were hovering off the bottom. The bite would suffer for them, but if you were wearing a Crappie Connection hoodie, they would bite.
That's what I'm talking about.
Man, you talking about a goal for this year? That was that's awesome. I was actually wearing mine today too, so we'll catch big slabs.
To change, yeah, exactly. My goal is to put good fishing reports on like that every Tuesday night. Colby Lee Warren, he says his goal for 24 is to adapt quicker, change tactics, and apply more of what he has learned and increased his average daily catch. Colby, that is textbook too. Great goal for 24. And I would say my top two pointers on crappie fishing, one of them is adapt quicker, change your mind a little quicker and be able to move faster. And a lot of people I talk to, that's when they figure that part out. If there's not fish there, then to move, change your tactics, and do something else, get you fishing the boat a lot quicker. So that's a perfect goal. It seems kind of like you're headed the right direction. You're getting ready to hurt them crappie.
Mr. Andy Stevens, I know he's up in Missouri, and he's caught a lot of crappie, a lot of 3-pound crappie. So his goal this year would actually be catch a 4-pound hybrid. I did catch a hybrid today. I noticed after I got home, and it was probably a pound 40-ish, I would say. But I did actually catch another hybrid today.
So you're, did you say he's caught a lot of 3-pounders in Missouri?
Well, Andy Stevens, he used to be, he fished Arca Butler when back in his day.
Okay.
A whole bunch, I remember. I remember him coming down Lake Washington too. So, there's a few sleeper lakes, I guess you would call them, up in that Illinois bracket that has some big hybrids in it.
See, I've heard that.
So I'm sure that's where you plan on going.
Then don't think I'm not ready for a drive. Somebody gives me one of those sleeper lakes. Working
Justin,
man, the orange is fire for sure on Sardis and Enid. I believe that.
Okay, man, Ken, his goal is to get his pontoon boat finished and outfish me. Which, man, you just fish with me, Ken. You got to outfish me. He's gonna be the new king on the rails. Man, you ain't got to do that, Ken. We can be partners, man. We can be a level.
They're after. Hey, look, Brad's getting scared. Ken, get him.
There's a lot of good fishermen on the reservoir like there every lake, but man, we've got some studs here at the reservoir, and from the Hammer to Rabbit Rogers, man, the list just is so long here for some great fishermen on this lake. So, yeah, man, if you beat all those guys, you there, man.
Speaking of the Hammer, old Chad Rogers said his goal is to beat him. I've been waiting for you, Chad Rogers. Been waiting for you to come on here.
JT, he says his goal is to have a black crappie more than 2 1/4, and a white crappie go over 2 pounds, and a largemouth over 6 1/2.
Oh, that's a good one. JT, where are you located? Where are you fishing at? See where the best place to go catch a 2-pound white is, but I bet you're close to him. Kent Driscoll said his goal is to fish with you this year. I bet you can. I bet you can do that, Kent.
I'm ready. Ken, we used to fish Magnolia Crappie Club, and he put a whooping on me all the time. So that's probably he needs to probably teach me a few things from his old tricking days when he was fishing Magnolia and smoking everybody. Got a lot of fun memories fishing with Ken in different tournaments as well. What are you doing, Dustin?
I'm going through.
What is doing here? He's like on the nuts.
I'm going through a bunch of these baits, looking for one of those glaciers just so I could show everybody. But then I've just gotten carried away at this point.
I'm like, what is he doing there?
I was saying, there's so many good colors, but I was going through these mayflies to find it, and I got the blue ice, and that blue ice is a bad boy at Grand Lake right now too. Speaking of those mayflies. Oh, here we go. Hey, Dustin Shields has a great one, and I'm kind of with him on this. He said his goal is to get a XXL Crappie Connection hoodie, but they are still sold out. Buddy, I feel your pain. Trust me on that.
I've actually got an update with that, and I will see what I got. The manufacturer's actually still out of stock with that pattern, and guys, that pattern was just so on point. We really didn't want to go away from that camo pattern.
Yeah.
So we've been kind of waiting on them to get back in stock so we can produce some more of them, or they could produce them. We could give them out to you guys and sell them. But hopefully they'll get that stuff squared up here pretty shortly.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't switch that camo, man. You got to keep it. That's why they got
legit.
Guaranteed. My dogs just really decided to bark when we go live. I'm telling you.
John Mayo, fishing on Enid and Sardis has been very consistent. Fishing from 6 foot to 10 foot of water. Around 8:30 in the morning, fish will start to rise on the surface when the sun gets up. Caught fish Sunday. Man, he's so shallow the fish would swirl.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Orange and chartreuse color has been the best.
A lot of orange is coming in. I've seen a lot of orange colors working.
I got a question. I see Trent, and I noticed this scenario today, and it may be just here on Ross Barnett, but I did notice that I thought the river fish didn't have as big as bellies on them as the main lake fish. And
really?
Honestly, we didn't. No, we didn't.
That's crazy.
There's
usually
noticeable
it's
difference. A noticeable difference, I think, between main lake and river fish. What I noticed today.
Wow.
There's not as much shad up on the river as the main lake, and I think those fish on the main lake, they literally just have to swim and suspend, and something's going to swim in their mouth, and they don't have to do any work. And probably those river fish are having to move to find bait. That's the only thing I could come up with, but I did notice a difference. And I know these tournament guys that are watching and joining on the comments can kind of even chime in on that. But typically the river systems hold bigger fish, healthier fish, and it may be just a timing thing for this lake. But right now it's kind of the opposite what I see.
Yeah. Tim Howe said his goal is to grow a bad, stash. Tim, I agree, buddy. You get one of these things and just notice how everything in life is better. I don't know what it is. I mean, the wife doesn't like it, but other than that, then
it's become really infamous.
You get you bigger deer and bigger fish, and you can't knock it till you try it. You'll see.
So you can't shave it?
I can't. No, I'm gonna have to. Not at this point. I just can't. I get too many. One of my favorite movies is Tombstone, and I've got way too many pictures from that movie on my Facebook with this stash.
Bob from YouTube's asking, what is your favorite color jig heads?
Ooh. Well, I can't just say one, so I got to mention probably. I'm not going to take Brad's. I'm going to say I got to mention my top three. Oh man, that's so hard. Chartreuse, white, and blue. Chartreuse, white, and blue. Those are my three favorite. If I got any of those three, I'm good to go, and I'll have those in the boat 24/7.
Mine really would be white and orange.
I figured you had orange. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm using like the mud dauber, an orange colored body, I'm going to use a white head. Typically, of course, chartreuse looks great too, but there's very few times in my experience that I've noticed the jig head color being the really factor when it comes to catching fish.
Yeah.
I remember one tournament that I thought jig head was a part of the component, and as far as color range goes, but it's not very often that I have really defined a pattern that tightly that I thought the jig head was a big factor in it, but I have seen it. Just not much.
Chad Rogers has a good one, a silver jig head with a silver flake jig head. That could be a killer too, or just a plain lead jig head is really good as well. But I've noticed jig head colors making bigger difference in clearer water. Like when I get to Grand and the water's really clear, I notice jig head makes a big difference. But when you get in real murky water, I don't notice it as big as I do in clear water. That's why I kind of went with naturaler colors. White and blue are really good in clear water, along with pink. And I know you don't like that pink for them catfish.
No, that's why I hardly use, at least on this lake, it seems like, man, you want to catch a catfish, put something pink on for me.
That's so fun.
I don't use a whole lot of pink. I see the sheriff of Madison County is asking where the fish, Mr. Tucker, Mr. Sheriff. I know you know where the fish are. We talked all weekend. You know where the fish are. You were right this morning. Keep on coming on down.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take a few of them I missed just from y'all commenting. He gets the whole list of them. I cut off about the top 5. So hey, Torches Guide Service. My goal is to fish more, worry less. That's the life, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. That should be on
fishes all the time.
That should be on a hoodie somewhere. Fish more, worry less. I like
Absolutely. It. Ken's asking, do we ever fish tournaments from YouTube? I haven't fished a tournament since 2019. I might jump in and fish some fun tournaments here and there. I think it would be fun. I know last year we had planned on fishing a crankbait tournament. Those kind of fun, meet people, have a good time kind of tournaments is what I would like to fish. So if something comes across that kind of thing, yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah, for sure. I actually fished a lot of tournaments last year, and me and Ken really fished them hard. Fished the Crappie Masters and all kinds of tournaments, and did really well. Been super fortunate, and I hope I can fish a handful this year. I'm not going to fish as many just due to the cost of everything and so much time and everything you have to sacrifice for it. But I'll definitely be fishing a few and traveling a little bit to fish it. So I'm excited to see how that goes, no doubt.
JT said he was fishing Middle Georgia, mainly Flint River, coming into Black Shear. 1 pound, 15 ounce was his biggest white crappie.
Okay, I got you. I'm trying to think in Georgia who we got. Oh, Crappie Ninja is in Georgia, but I'm trying to think how close he would be to him. But yeah, if you're up there, you ought to go fishing with old Crappie Ninja, and I bet you the black crappie. He's got some giant black crappie where he fished. I believe Jackson Lake and a few other ones up there. Kyle Davis says, whip out the 5K for fishing the Wally Marshall. Have you seen that, Brad? The Wally Marshall's Expo next year.
I did see that last night.
The expo is going to be the first of the year, or no, the 1st of November at Branson again, Table Rock. So that'll be interesting. I'm really curious to see how that turns out.
Yeah, I mean, more power to them.
Yeah, exactly. If it's good for the industry and grows it at all, then I'm in for it too. So hopefully it all goes great. The only way I would fish that tournament, I believe, since it's so close to me, is if they got 100 boats. If they had 100 boats, I'm in, because that is a heck of a payout, and that lake is up my alley. I finished the top 10 there on the last Wally that was in Branson, so I'd have a hard time not fishing that one if there was enough boats. But there'd have to be enough boats for me to participate for sure.
Got a lot of good goals coming in here, guys.
Absolutely.
Howard has gained double the knowledge about crappie fishing as he did in 23. Be able to help up and coming fishermen as well. That's a good one there, Howard Pope.
Yeah. Let's be fishing Wren Lake this year. The crappie.
Mr. Gary Rowe, he said you need to come to Lake. Was it Fort Gibson? Bite has been really good. Fish in the 20-foot range and chomping.
Hey, I believe that. Gary, it's nice to hear from you, buddy. I haven't been there. It's close to me though. That's right here in my my alley. But I need to go visit that. I see a lot of pictures and comments and all kinds of things about Fort Gibson right now, especially in the river. They're smoking them. So I need to come pay that a visit for sure, really soon. But tomorrow, me and Ken, though, y'all stay tuned to I'll make a little post on GFB Outdoors tomorrow on my guide page of how me and Ken do, and then y'all will hear about it next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. I'll be ready to tell you, because the way he fished here not too long ago, I think he's got something found. We're going to go get after him pretty hard tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I got Kent. He's saying his goal for this year is to learn boat control better. And also, we'll talk about that. It's a really good subject for a great goal for this upcoming year for guys, and even myself even more. You know, when I think of boat control, I think of how different ways to learn it. And a great way, in my opinion, would be fishing in some wind and some waves, but also current, and seeing how those things actually affect your boat itself. You know, a lot of times I think people get in the habit of like running a trolling motor and not varying your speed dial as much as you could. You know, you can hit that thing and actually blow over the fish or not get up to them fast enough. So my thing would be with boat control is learn to adjust your settings on your trolling motor to the situation, um, from the current, like I said, to wind and waves. But I know a thing that's I'm still learning with boat control is still with my power brakes. Man, I can tell they're just such a game changer
Oh
and
man.
they help everything out. But I'm still learning to control how much to push the pedal as far as stopping it without backing up too quick. So the only thing that comes to boat control to me is just get out there and keep on doing it and keep on playing with it.
For sure. Yeah, that's exciting, Brad. I'm excited too, especially in the spring when you're really after just roaming fish. I think you're gonna really love
Yeah.
that. I don't know if all your fish are roaming right now or not, but that'll be super fun. Chad asked if why the third time at Table Rock. That's all just honestly, and for his point of view of being here again, I believe that's all a money thing on due to the venue and everything. I don't think it's much to do with the lake or the tournament side of things. That don't really do much as far as the venue and expo went so smooth for him, I'm sure. So that's why we're doing that the third time, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean it's just a good
And it's
area.
a beautiful place, and it's
Pretty
a good
lake.
area. Yeah, a lot of stuff to do. It's all just easy, I'm sure, easier. I'd love, Grand Lake's got a lot of big bass tournaments on it. I'd love for a big crappie tournament to come to it. We had a decent one there with the ACT. We had a big fish tournament, but that'd be fun to get a big 7 fish on that lake.
Mr. Bob, he's asking, what do you do when the crappie hit the weight above the jig head? That's a great question, Bob.
You know what I do? This is funny, and it happens sometimes. If I know it's hitting jig head, I still let the client or whoever yank, because sometimes that jig, when they hit the jig, that jig will come up and hook them in the lip. And I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes it'll happen. I'm like, he's getting ready to bite your weight, but just yank that thing because it might work.
Bob, what I do with that?
Have you?
Yeah, I've had it happen. But one of the things I like to do whenever I notice fish doing that is, one, I'm gonna raise that weight up higher above the jig head itself. So if you're fishing at that point about 18 inches from there to the jig head, move it on up to 2 foot if you need to. And also, you might have to increase the size of the jig head to get it further down below that weight, but raise the egg sinker or whatever you're using higher up in the water column and use a little bit heavier jig head.
Kyle Davis said, Dustin's snagging fish now. Hey, listen, whatever gets a fish in the boat, if it bit your jig or if it bit your weight above the jig, you tricked him somehow, so you might as well catch that fish. But no, I have had them things sometimes, like you said, Brad. If it's in that eyesight, they will sometimes pass a jig to go hit that big weight, and it blows my mind how they don't want that jig sometimes. But you slide it further and further, you'll eventually notice it gets out of their eyesight where they won't see it anymore. But sometimes you can't do nothing without them running up and hitting it. It cracks me up because I swear they know sometimes.
Josh Robinson, he's fished with me as well. He's asking, what makes crappie sit on the bottom? Is it certain weather conditions? There is Saturday, the fish that were suspended would not bite, but the fish sitting on the bottom would. Josh, if I knew that, I would probably be a billionaire.
I was about to say the same thing.
But I noticed that same pattern kind of last year when you're talking about the res. It may be just a location. I would like to guess on your location where you're fishing the sea, probably on the southern end of the lake. I put it that way. If so, I kind of noticed the same thing last year. The fish suspended on top, and it's probably a food. Maybe there's so much shad in the main lake. Maybe that's the easiest part for those fish to pick off. Maybe the temperature, who knows? But I've noticed that same pattern when it comes into wintertime more often than the other months of the year. But I have seen that same pattern before on the reservoir.
I like Dustin Shields says the birds. That's a pretty good theory as well. Depending on the water clarity, I'm sure. But if you have a lot of bait fish, you'll notice those birds get really thick towards the bait fish. So it's probably spooky for them to set up high. I've got my theory with those birds is why the fish will dart off when they hear the bait splash. And that's because I think they think a bird has darted down towards them. Because you'll have, where we're at, we have the loons really thick. Those, I don't know if you've heard of a loon or not, but We have those really thick, and they'll dive down and you'll see them go through schools of crappie and everything else. And I think they get spooked from them a little bit on that. But I'm sure a lot to do with the fish on the bottom is conditions, weather. There's probably so much that goes into it, but
Yeah.
it seems like it's a day-to-day thing too. You might run through this flat, all the fish be on the bottom, you barely see their noses, you catch them good, and then go the next day and they're 2 foot deep. It just kind of a different. Or you go down and then you turn around and the fish are up. Sometimes it gets like that. So
I mean, I caught some today on the bottom as well, but I caught them up off the bottom as on the same token. But certain portions of the lake, and maybe even my mind, it's kind of like there's so much bait fishing area where the calmest spot might be is laying there on the bottom. They're full, they're fat, they're happy, and they're just chilling out, laying in that mud down there. But I have seen, that same pattern down here.
Yeah. Kathy Crawford said that she's seen a lot of that, hundreds of birds, Honey Creek, which is at Grand Lake, and they get thick on Grand. Grand is one of the biggest bird population lake this time of year with all the pelicans and seagulls and everything else out here. It's unbelievable. And they just massacre the shad, but there's enough shad in Grand to feed the world, I feel like sometimes. So let them birds at them, let them clear out some of those shads so we can catch some crappie.
I'm like further behind you there.
Wow. Working Man says the fish are just lazy to getting on the bottom. A buddy of mine has a tank with some crappie in it, and you'll find this crazy, Brad. This is not too long ago I've seen these fish doing it, but these crappie, there's a log in this tank laying down. They will lay on their side, completely on their side, and go under the log, almost like a flounder. Mm-hmm. And there's a gap this big for the crappie to go under. They'll lay to their side, and just if he has like minnows are in there, and there's minnows sitting on it, they will just go under it sideways. I mean, it is unbelievable. And they may sit under there for a while, just straight like this. So I think a lot of them fish will ride the bottom, and they'll maneuver around logs and stuff like you would not believe. It's cool to watch them, really. But that was something cool to watch it brush up under a log, and it's just set straight. It's crazy. Super cool.
Got Draymond from YouTube. He says, Dustin, you were right. He took the pecan cream to El Dorado in Kansas this past Saturday, and they were nailing it.
Hey, I like that, man. I wouldn't steer you wrong. I promise you, I would put that jig in any lake and just about say if they ain't biting that, they ain't biting nothing. But that's just because I'm hard-headed sometimes, and it does bring a change sometimes. But that bait does great. It's worth getting in your tackle box just for those days. But that's awesome. El Dorado's got some big fish in it too, so I'm sure he's got some good ones.
Timothy Dennis, in the wintertime, in winter river system, is the crappie fishing best in the river channel or creek channels? For me, it comes in the depth of water. I mean, if you have some deeper creek channels, and that's really a situation by situation as far as that lake goes to me. Where the bait fish, those fish aren't going to be far from them. Also, it also depends on the current. If you got current coming through that creek channel, they're not going to be there. They're going to get out of that current. So it kind of depends on the current. Same thing for the river channel. If you have a lot of current coming through a river channel, it seems like when these fish are holding in deeper water, they're going to get out of that current and they're going to get to an eddy. So that's why, like I said, I like some current when it comes into wintertime crappie fishing for sure.
Yeah, I can see that for sure too. I'd say the creeks where we're at would do a little bit better because of the current if you get out of the main river current, but time of year thing again for sure. James Cumberland asked what name of that jig. It's actually a live roamer, pecan cream, and that is the bait actually right there. But lurenet.com has all these baits, and they're just a live roamer style bait. This is the same style of bait, but that is a different color, of course. But those are just a live roamer. That's where these shad right now are about this size and all over the place, and you're just mimicking these next couple months. That bait should be an absolute monster of all colors. Like I said, it's not just the pecan cream that works. I am attached to that bait. Well, I kind of really push getting a darker bait, but they all work in certain water clarities. And this is the top 3 we're using tomorrow. That's bluegrass. That's another one I love in the live roamer. But Look at that. He whipped that thing right up on there. On the comment section, you guys can click on that right there. It'll take you to the live roamers, and you cannot go wrong, I promise. That is the best bait on the market right now as far as crappie, as far as I'm concerned. That's one of the best.
Get that.
Charles Henderson says he's waiting for the welfare hole to get right. I
Current.
bet, man.
He's waiting on that current, I'm telling you.
Yep.
Let me take that back off the screen. There you go. Mr. Ruben Flores, what's up, dude? Actually, we do have some loons here on Ross Barnett and Chad Rogers. There's loons, and also he said water turkeys. He's talking about comrades, and we have both of them out here.
We have those thick out here, the water turkeys too. But those loons are really cool. And under docks and stuff, I've seen them go through schools of crappie zipping for them. I mean, there's something crazy how they go up underwater and everything. And then we'll catch a lot of crappie through the summer or spring, early spring with holes in them where their beak has stabbed holes in them like they're trying to catch them. Pretty wild.
Trent, he's got a good question. He says, what structure do you think holds the bigger fish? Stick-ups, brush, man-made ledges?
Oh, that's the time of year thing, I feel like. But if I was to pick one and they were on all of them, I'd say maybe stick-ups, just little stumps, kind of stump stick-up stuff to me. You're wanting to look for lower numbers of fish, not big numbers of fish, seem like.
For me, it would be any kind of structure that has something that crappie can get up underneath.
Oh, yeah.
A 45 degree, I don't care if it's natural, man-made.
Yeah. Almost like a lay down. Like a lay down,
something like at a 45 degree angle. That type of structure there for me is going to be a gold mark. And anybody that's ever listened to the show knows that gold marks on my units mean something to me. And anytime I ever see a piece of structure that's sitting at a 45, it's going to be a gold GPS waypoint for me.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to run through this real quick because R&B Crappie Creations asked me, how do you rig the roamer on the jig head, flat or standing up? So I'm going to I know a lot of y'all already know this, but for who doesn't about these jig heads or the way these roamers work, you can rig them two ways. They're designed where they're going to swim straight regardless of the way you rig them. So there's a live presentation, which is straight up and down, almost like it's swimming. If I'm pitching to them or casting to them, I'm going to have them at a live presentation. Or you have a dead presentation, and that's flat, where it's setting like a dead shad, I guess, floating down. And when these drop, let me just rig this bad boy up for you with this crappie.
Do it slow.
Yeah. So I go right through the middle of them. And this is going to be the flat presentation. And this is a Crappie Pro jig head. This is a white head, what we just were talking about. But that is the flat dying presentation, if you will. And when it falls, it sits there, and you can even see it on the live scope, which is awesome. But you can see your bait flutter down to them, kind of. And if they see that while it's going, that really catches their attention. I haven't had them really hitting that while it's falling like that, but it catches their attention. They're looking at it. Now they're really interested. And when you give that thing a little action, like it's trying to stay alive, it has really, really done good on the crappie. So that's the dead presentation when I'm dropping straight down on them, especially wintertime months when they're real lethargic. I'm not casting to them. That's going to be the presentation I use tomorrow when I go with Ken. That's what I'm going to start with right there. And then this is the live presentation. You just rotate it, come straight up through the back, and it sets straight like that. Mm-hmm. And that's when your fish, you're just swimming one across, and it is bad to the bone. Me and Brad got to play with it at Grand kind of as soon as they come out with all the new colors and everything. And we washed it in that clear swimming pool, and it has action in that tail. It sits there and shimmers to where it just, you can't even hold it still. It's amazing bait. So that's the live roamer for you guys. And yeah, as the water gets colder, the presentation for me is the flat presentation, but they both work great. And if the flat, I could sit here and talk about this bait a long time, but if the flat presentation, if it's kind of like, it seems like they're not as interested, I will put it straight up and down because it's a little smaller to them. They're always looking up. So you're making it thinner, and it's almost a smaller presentation to them than the flat. The flat's a little bit more aggressive. But a dying meal is a lot easier to them, in my opinion. They will just come up and slam that thing. So that's a great bait to use right now. And I wish Bobby Garland wouldn't have came out with it and just would let me have it as a secret weapon. But everybody gets to use this, and I promise it's a game changer. And this is just on this show that I really, really am telling you guys, Put this bait on and watch what it does. It is a dangerous, dangerous crappie killer.
We got Stevie.
Yeah, what size of line for this? It really doesn't matter to me. I mean, I use small line when I'm casting and heavier line when I'm just dropping straight up and down, but anywhere from 6 to 8 pound line should work great. Now, if you do get a lighter presentation, like I said, I could just keep going. But if you get like 4 pound line and a really light jig head, if you have a lot of patience and you're fishing like a dock and just letting it float through them, if you got a really small jig head, this thing will just float down there, and it's just bad news. So you guys have fun with that live roamer, and I want to hear, just like that fella said, he took it to El Dorado and killed him on the pecan cream. I want to hear the fishing reports with the live roamer. That's my goal for all you guys. Go get you some of them and tell me if you noticed a difference or had a good bite with them. And
yeah,
I will accept hugs when they work. Me and Brad accept good hugs when they.
No, only Dustin. He's the hugger.
Whoops.
I got Pat Roppin, and he's asking, do you use gloves and what kind? And actually, he said he broke 3 fingers off Saturday morning. I could have broke them off this morning, too. It was, I think, 28 degrees on the boat ride this morning, and I went about 5 miles up the lake.
Oh, man, that's the worst.
So I used a face mask, number one, to kind of numb the shock, I guess you would say. I do use gloves a little bit. I like a glove that doesn't have fingers in it. And also Kent Driscoll, I remember a week or two, he was actually talking about this or commented about it, was using latex gloves to kind of keep your hands dry and warmer during the wintertime. I didn't try it today, but I actually thought about it. And really, I thought about it when I was driving down the lake. But I did actually use them, rubber gloves, vinyl gloves, or what have you, when I was going deer hunting last week. And just for a little extra layer because it was so chilly on a full ride. But
did it work?
I think it did help some.
Okay. All right. You're going to have me doing that now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little trick. Maybe it'll help you
out. Dan King says, how do you rig up your jig if they are short striking your bait? That's another really good question. You can always downsize on that, but go ahead, Brad.
You know, when that kind of happens to me, even with the live roamer, what's so really neat about using a bait like that, let's say if you get a lot of short strikes, I couldn't bite it, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, just nip that.
And do it like I would in the boat.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, that's truthful. You know, at that point, if I get a lot of short strikes, I'm going to make the length of this profile even shorter.
Exactly.
And see how I shorten it up. By clipping off a quarter of an inch or even a little bit more than that. So just keep bringing it down or downsizing your baits down to the itty bit swimmers or the itty bit slab hunters.
Yep. And
they'll start to where they inhale them.
And if you put sometimes a short strike will work if you put a little nibble on the back of that little something to do with what am I trying to think? Some scent on the bait will make a difference sometimes. Bobby Garland's got the slab jam. They've got crappie nibbles. They've got so much crappie stuff now with just scent on the bait. But I'd like to put the scent closer to the hook so that way when they hit it, it's kind of on it. But the scent works sometimes.
And I see Jerry's crappie life. I like that. He said the crappie were so lethargic Sunday, he thought they had rigor mortis.
Dude, I have seen them like that way too many times this time of year. I know exactly what you're talking about. I have put a jig. I've touched the fish with the jig before and finally made them move. They get so lethargic. So sometimes I think they're blind or have rigor mortis. That's funny. Dustin Shields said the dust stash keeps you 1 to 3 degrees warmer on the boat ride. That is a fact. It does keep you warmer. I just have to bring my face mask now to about like right here, and then I'm set. I'm all good there.
He covers up the ears and right up underneath.
Well, I'm getting to the point where if I bring these out far enough, my ears will be covered.
We got Kent. He's asking from YouTube. He says the lake where he lives on, the deepest portion is 19 foot at the dam. Do you think the crappie are laying down on the bottom, or do shallow lakes turn off in the winter?
Oh, that's a good question too. It's kind of something you have to kind of be there to check out and see, but I wouldn't put it past them sitting on the bottom for sure. I mean, I could see that. in the style of lake that I fish, it seems like really clear water, they're moving deeper. So if they couldn't go much deeper, they'll just ride the bottom. They'll really ride the bottom.
It kind of, 19 foot of water, Lake Washington, most of the time our water even is no deeper than 18, 19 foot. So it's about the same depth there. That lake actually fishes better in the fall, winter, and spring than the summer time for me. I think a shallower lake, those fish stay on better in the cooler months than the hot summer months. So I think it's kind of the actually opposite when it comes to a 19 foot range lake. I think the bite would be better in the fall, winter, and spring than it would be the summer.
I can see that too. Yep. I'm ready. This New Year's got me pumped up. It's been nothing but hectic. Moving in this new house, remodeling so much, working on everything. It's time to get back after it. I'm going to get everything tuned in. Starting tomorrow, I'm going after them. But I've got several lakes to check. In the next couple of weeks, I'll have some good fishing reports for you guys. No doubt about it. January is my birthday month. I got to get after them.
My month too.
Is it really? When's your birthday?
26th.
Oh my gosh, I thought you were going to say 20th. You about had me. Mine's the 20th. So we're right there. That's funny. Me and Ken were fishing a tournament for Wally Marshall, and we have a Marshall in the boat, and we're sitting there talking. Me and Ken's been buddies for a few years now, and we're fishing together for who knows how long. And we're sitting there fishing, and the Marshall says something about birthdays. I said, well, my birthday's January 20th. And Ken says, you're lying. Mine's the 20th. I'm like, what? Our birthday's on the same day? And the Marshall said, mine's the 21st. I said, holy smokes. So that was a pretty wild experience.
You were one day off from winning it. I mean, if that Marshall would have, that would have been
I'd have jumped out the boat. Yeah, for sure. We would have won that one. That's funny. One day off from winning it. You are right.
That's just how it happens, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Workman's the 25th of January. Hot dog. We're going to have a birthday week there.
Heck yes. For sure.
Also, guys, I don't know. We haven't mentioned tonight so far, but the first weekend of February is going to be Grizzly Jig. I know Dustin will be there. I'll be there. So go ahead and make your plans for doing that. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun time.
Super pumped for that one.
I think I've been going 10 years now.
Ricky Chambly? I'm sure I mentioned that wrong, but Ricky's birthday is today. So happy birthday, Ricky. Thanks for watching tonight on your birthday. That means a lot.
Chris Collins is the 4th.
Look at all the happy birthday stories. Everybody's hitting you with the happy birthdays. Look at him.
We'll have a birthday. I mean, who else's birthday in January?
Look, I mean, my goodness, we've got to start taking care of people's birthdays. All right. So everybody's January birthday month. Happy birthday to all my January buddies. That's funny. And there are free stuff coming from Brad at that Grizzly Jig show, especially hugs. Kyle Davis, you are right, buddy. You wait till, he'll be giving hugs, all kinds of things. No worries. Hopefully he'll have them hoodies by then too. And we can
we hope so. We'll have some. I have some of the last year models Crappie Connection
okay,
that we can do something with.
Perfect. Well, I'm hoping there's some to buy at Grizzly Jig. Will you even bring some, or do you get a booth, or how's that work?
No, we won't have a booth there. We'll have a Grizzly. They're so accommodating for Crappie Connection to do our podcast. They have us a room set up in the back. So I'm not sure about the seminar schedules yet and that kind of thing. As soon as I hear about that, we will talk about them on today's bite too. Gotcha. But we'll be in the back. So if you don't see us, we're actually recording podcasts at that time. So might not see me all day on the floor. You'll see me running back and forth, grabbing different people to do podcasts. It's where we'll try to do, a good dozen podcasts. I know we got a new podcast coming out the week, and I forgot which one it is, but we got a new podcast even coming out this week. Like I said earlier, in 2024, we talked about goals. Crappie Connection, of course, my goal for this year is going to be the 25,000 subscribers on the YouTube side of things. And, we're right here on Facebook, right? I think 46,500. I see a lot of guys post this, and I'm going to ask the rest of the 179 people watching right now. If you could, go ahead and invite your friends to follow the Crappie Connection page, especially on Facebook. You guys can help us out more than you ever can imagine just by doing those simple little things. We've had a great year when it comes to the Crappie Connection. We did over right at 500, over 500,000 views on YouTube this year. And that's from today's bite. That's from the podcast. That's from some different videos that we put out. You know, if you could let us know what you guys want to see from the Crappie Connection, what kind of podcasts you want to see,
There you go.
what kind of guests you want to come on today's bite. How can we help you guys become better crappie fishermen? And that's what we're really here for as far as the Crappie Connection goes, is to help this sport grow and promote it the best way we know how, and helping by teaching new techniques. For myself, I've been around the game for a long time now and know some really good fishermen throughout the United States, as Dustin does as well.
For sure.
So we can help you with different techniques, even if it's not from Dustin and I or whoever else is helping with podcasts at the time.
I bet we know somebody. Yes,
I know somebody that knows somebody.
For
I
sure.
promise you that.
I can say that. No doubt about it. You let me know where you're at. We'll get them found.
So, as always, appreciate you guys. We'll be back next Tuesday night.
Absolutely.
We will do another Today's Bite. I know I'm fishing at least Thursday and Friday this week, and I know next Monday and Tuesday as well. So I've got some days booked already for this year. It's going to be an awesome January. I hope to tag all the way. Next month, I'm going to tag a good bit of a 2-pound crappie. I'm pretty certain on the Ross Barnett. So look out for the Crappie Connection, not Crappie Connection, the Crappie Forever tags on Ross Barnett. If you happen to catch one, take a video of it with it. Give us the weight, give us the length, and you don't have to tell us GPS locations, but a general area of that fish wherever you caught, and have a video of you releasing it back. And these guys have all kind of prizes that they're going to give back to you guys. We might can even throw some extra different things if it's a fish that I caught. I'll work out a deal with you. Message me and say I caught tag 173. I hope this fish here gets caught somewhere. I'm waiting to see what this fish does because it was pretty neat.
It'll be off the same stump in a month.
I don't know. It's going to be that's what's so interesting, and that's what's so exciting to see some of these fish if they get caught again and where we're at.
For sure.
So definitely, if you guys see the Crappie Forever tag, do the little video of you releasing it and weigh it and turn it back loose, and you get some good prizes. Absolutely. But that's all I got, guys.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you all as well. I'll see you next Tuesday with a lot more fishing reports. I'm doing better. New year, new me. It's a good year to have a good year, or something like that is the saying. Y'all be good. Ricky, happy birthday, and enjoy that live scope. I think he said he's getting a live scope, or he's got one. Mm-hmm. He's going to put it after it this year. So happy birthday, and we'll see y'all.
All right, appreciate it. Sherry Hillman, happy birthday, my cuz. I see that. But we'll holla. Boom.